Here with reaction, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, some people talk about, for example, wind turbines contributing to the death of whales and bird life, et cetera.
I don't know why AOC isn't dressed in white and crying for the dead whales that keep washing on the beach from wind farms that are being placed all over the ocean.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and y'all put your glasses on because the brightest shining star from the MAGA cult is about to shine some light on the impact of environmental dangers and climate change.
And people are calling the alarms over how this is not only killing unknown thousands of bird species, but also causing whales to beach themselves at record numbers. But the real problem, Sean, is Pete Buttigieg. He's the Secretary of Transportation, and he's more interested in equity and inclusion in his hiring practices and grant-giving schemes and obviously probably chest feeding or something like that than he is rail safety.
So if you were able to get through that without your ears starting to bleed, yes, this is the newest distraction and conspiracy theory that Republicans are using, that green energy is killing whales. More specifically, windmills are killing whales in the ocean.
And now thousands of people, birds, animals, they're all sick, and we don't know the consequences of this horrible accident in East Palestine. But we have people like Ilhan Omar. She wants to, crack down on corporate greed when it comes to rails and the privately owned sections of rails. But really what we have to do is we have to make sure that our rails are safe. Democrats passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, and only $5 billion went towards rail safety. This is a failure. It would have never happened under a Republican-controlled infrastructure bill, and we need to hold Democrats accountable for this, especially Pete Buttigieg.
Notice how the mass extinction event from climate change and those threats don't really bother them. But if they can somehow draw a line from green energy to death, then they will do it. Also, I'm thinking again that irony is missing them. If we keep burning the planet, then all of the animals will die, including us. But where did she want to take this conversation? The train derailment in Ohio, which does deserve some tough scrutiny. But here is where she messed up. Deregulation happened constantly under Donald Trump, including those associated with train braking systems.
Well, the money's going to the Green New Deal. Over $1 trillion from the infrastructure bill goes to Green New Deal programs. Things like $7 billion to convert buses and ferries to electric batteries. Most of that benefits China because China controls the electric battery in the industry, and America doesn't even compete. You see, they didn't care about infrastructure. They didn't care about planes, trains, and automobiles and our real infrastructure in our crumbling nation. They cared about passing their policies, woke policies like the Green New Deal that only make people like Greta happy and make people like Bill Gates happy, but don't do anything for the American taxpayers and the very important needs of our infrastructure.
Of course, Marjorie isn't going to say that, because if the results of the previous administration are dumped onto a laptop of a Democrat, then you can bet money they will blame it on whoever is within 500 feet of the White House and identifies as a Dem. This is the same story again and again because Donald Trump made it a point to slash federal regulations and give handouts to corporations and free passes to do whatever they so pleased. And let's be real, people like Marge the Trainwreck Greene don't care about saving animals or people. They care about the power that comes with pretending like they care. The Green New Deal did not pass. It was not a bill that made it to Biden's desk. They keep leaning on that like it is something that was signed into law, and it was not. What is the law that she and her right-wing nutjob friends are trying to roll back is the Inflation Reduction Act, which is creating jobs, fixing bridges, and all of these things that they constantly whine and cry about. And again, the irony of pointing the finger at Democrats and blaming an environmental disaster and the world's problems all on Joe Biden while they actively campaign against making changes to protect the climate is ridiculous. They don't want more regulation, but when those loose laws bite them in the butt, they turn around and blame it on someone else. It's almost textbook at this point how dedicated they are to being partisan without anything to show that benefits the American people. What has Greene done since she's been back in office? What has she done for her constituents? Nothing. She's introduced legislation that uses Fox News buzzwords to keep the MAGA crowd happy and to pretend like she's a legitimate congresswoman. She's pathetic, and that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.